It's Sunday, October 24th, 2021. I was just watching this morning weather. This one says Euro analysis. It's on CBS 2. Now this also, it says Wednesday, but today is Sunday. So that gets confusing, but I guess it's the week in total. I paused it, it was right here. But then it goes into something called a GPS, which I'm assuming is a global, or GFS, which I've never heard of that. I mean, these are like models on a, what is it called? I don't even know. I mean, just recently I heard there's some kind of geological survey, but again, I don't know what that means, and I don't know who's in charge of that, and I don't know if that's encompasses this weather related newscast or forecast. From here, it goes from the Euro to this I think FS, which I'll put on in a second. Then the newswoman, then they go into speaking to a woman who's doing some kind of charity event today. Now, the charity event that she's doing has to do with, now this always upsets me when I hear the humans talk about it based on my experience with humans. She's talking about mental health and physical health, and then like their somewhat awareness between the interaction, but like if you think of your body machina as the man, like, I mean, you refer to yourself as a woman or man. So then the word men, M-E-N, would be the body machina. I mean, I've never really liked the way that the English have portrayed it in an alphabet calligraphy to the humans, but whatever. So it would be men, and that they're somewhat tall. Not everybody's tall. There's only one L. But then there's the physical. And again, that's like the hybrid with the Y, but it's a lower gamma, but whatever, in the iCal. But just the way that they tried to explain suicide, mental health, and physical health, and she says something, like the way she's trying to tie it together, like, I get it, it's really confusing, and I've heard them try to speak on it. It's just, I worry when they go out and they get nursing degrees, and then they think that they're going to teach somebody. Then they're going to make some votes, and then they're going to write decisions on other people's children to imprison them and stick them with needles, or render some decision thinking that they're qualified. That's where it really becomes a problem. Now, I also know that I'm like an isolated case, but humans in general, from what I've seen, they're scary, and their sociological pathology. So I stay away from them. And I don't like being coerced out and then imprisoned in one of their ambulances and taken to their facility and then locked in as if they're a more intelligent species, because they're not. All right. But that's the shit that they pull, and that they've been playing in New York, which is really dangerous. Then it goes into a story I've never heard before. There's a white guy. He's calling it Fanalysis or Fanalysis, something like that. He speaks a different industry. He's speaking of the sports industry and of this NFL franchise system, but in a point system and some kind of you invest in these points. I don't know. I've never even heard it explained in this fashion. I thought you put on a football game like Army Navy and they entertain you and you have a couple of beers and then you go home to your miserable lives and it's over. Apparently there's a whole subculture of football franchise. They have point investing and some form of advanced analysis. I don't even know how they spread this type of joy amongst one another and how one finds out. I mean, I've been in New York for 43 years. I've never even heard of such a thing before. They don't teach it in school. And I don't really know where they go socially to meet and group up with one another. Again, I've kind of been left out. But anyway, I found it absolutely fascinating the way that this man spoke, because I'm like, it's like a whole new set of linguistical prowess.
It's going to happen, and then we're concerned about some heavy rain throughout the day. The whole day
It's
won't
like a
see
whole
heavy
section
rain
of the
for all,
population
but
that just
the
disappeared that I
European
didn't even know
focuses the
existed.
rain points north and east,
So this
and now
goes
even the
from
GFS is bringing
Euro.
in some bigger totals, but those numbers
I've never
are
heard
farther
of this
to the
GFS.
south
I don't know
and
what it
west.
stands for.
So we're going to be dealing with active weather. There's more agreement that we're going to see some more issues Tuesday, and that will linger into Wednesday, and it's a different system coming on board Friday. So coming up this morning, it is the Out of the Darkness walk. And we have this beautiful sun, and I have a beautiful new friend. Selena, right?
Yes.
Selena, why are you here today?
I'm here to support the cause, to fight for all of my friends and family and loved ones who have struggled with their mental health and suicide ideation. And, I just want to live in a world where we aren't facing this leading cause of death. So that's why I'm so passionate about it and why I'm here today.
Why is it important to deal with the stigma of suicide and deal with the stigma of mental health issues in general?
Yeah, so suicide is the 10th leading cause of death, and it is completely preventable. The way I always look at it is mental health is the same as physical health, right? If I have a physical health issue, I can either get treatment and get better, or it could take my life. Similarly, with your mental health, it's the same thing. For some reason, there's a stigma surrounding it. There's this view of, maybe I don't feel comfortable talking about it. Maybe I can just kind of.
Because nobody knows how to define it.
That's not really how it works, and that's where I got involved with the AFSP, because I learned a lot about the science behind it, the brain, and all of that I didn't fully appreciate. And learning about that got me more comfortable talking about my mental health and helped me encourage others around me to talk about it a little bit more. And that's just lead to everyone feeling a little bit more comfortable. And I think if the more we can do that, the more we can talk about it, and the more we can show that mental health and physical health are one and the same.
Right. One thing I've learned too. I see all these young people. It's the second leading cause of young people.
Exactly.
So this is why you will see a lot of young people here today.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk later about, we had all this.
That happens a lot. The humans conflict with one another, but then it just rolls on. Like, one will say it's the 10th, one will say it's the 2nd. Just correct your own record in the moment and move on, because nobody really knows. Not in the moment.
The color setup. We're going to talk more about the beads and what that means and how that works out here. More tents are being set up. More folks are filling in.
I just want to say she spoke such important words, and I just want to let people know, if you come out there, it is such a hopeful and inspiring walk. So often it's something we don't say we don't want to talk about, but it's an uplifting experience to come to the walk. So I hope people will join us out there. All right, John, thank you. It is 7:49. After having last week off, the Jets head north to face the Patriots today in Foxborough. A game you can see right here on CBS 2 at 1 p.m. And our Steve Overmeyer spoke with a sports investment analyst earlier this week on
a sports investment analyst. I didn't even know that career field was something.
On a smart way to bet the game, and it involves the Giants game.
And I thought betting was illegal. Apparently, they have whole career fields, just like the stock market, that encourages betting and gambling.
On Fanalysis, we combine the analytics used in fantasy football with the latest sports betting trends to find you the sharpest angle. And for that, we turn to a sports investment analyst with PicksWise, Jared Smith. Jared, let's talk teasers because teasers allow you to buy points in your favor in exchange for betting 2 games. When you looked around the NFL this week at games to tease, is it true you landed on the New York teams?
Both of them, 1 for, 1 against. It's like yay and nay, like we're back at the Constitutional Convention. We'll go with the against first. I think Zach Wilson strolling into Foxborough for the first time, considering Bill Belichick has never lost to a rookie quarterback while the head coach of the Patriots at Foxborough. That's a far-fetched reality for me to live in. So you get the Patriots,
It's like a whole foreign language sub-embedded into English. Like, I know he's speaking English. That's what we call the language that we share in New York and in this North America. But, like, I listen to things like a Belichick. I have no idea. I think that that's a man embedded inside of this industry, almost like a subculture of some sort within this alphabet soup of NFL in a subsystem of something called sports. But I have no idea how the construct was built or how it actually functions. But I know that it comes through on television only as a game where there's a whole lot of people running after a roast beef that they throw around. And other than that, I have no idea. Like, the rules of that game, they don't explain it. And then there's like a whole bunch of guys that sit and they're really excited and they talk a lot, and it's, again, more language that it's like, no, I get that they really like what they're saying, but lost in translation.
it's a very public game. They're laying 7. You move it to 1.
You know, I think it goes back to hardwiring and software. I'm not hardwired into this lifestyle. I mean, I understand it exists. It's one of the squares on my wall. But, and I appreciate it from afar. And I appreciate their enthusiasm and like that they've built this whole franchise. I just don't have to be an expert because there's already so many of them.
In some spots at 6.5, you get it to a half. I think that's a very reasonable spot to buy in on New England. Their defense looked great. Mac Jones looks to be the best of the rookies. Then on the other side, let's go for the 4. The Giants getting points at home. It's a low total game, so the points are a little bit more valuable in those particular instances. And this is it. This is the spot for Joe Judge. You've been preaching pride after a blowout loss to the Rams. Can you bounce back? They were embarrassed last week. And if they're not on their game this week, home field at MetLife might turn on them quickly. So I think this Giants team, buy low. This is the spot. You get them through 2 key numbers, and it's a low total game.
Yeah, and
My only concern is, does this subculture and society impact my personal health, safety, and welfare at all? Standing here in New York on this journey where I can't seem to get out, and there's an uppercase gamma field and a lowercase gamma field outside that filters in some unconditioned and uncontrollable lighting schematic. The only time I get concerned about this is how does, or could any of this possibly affect my health in the way that the Tetra is currently working or built in construct. Is there any overlapping or interwoven pieces where people take something from here and then they use it to harm people elsewhere?
And let's be honest, Sam Darnold hasn't exactly looked like the guy that he was in the first 3 weeks of the season. So that's going to be the big question as to whether or not, the Giants are going to be able to hold that Panthers offense.
You already lost my
Well,
attention
the Giants
span
put
on
some
this
points
one.
up, on the board as well.
But I'm trying to be
That's
respectful.
How he sees the Jets and the Giants matchups. Make sure you check out his top betting plays of the week in a segment you can find on CBSNewYork.com. For Jared Smith of Pickswise, I'm Steve Overmeyer. This is Fanalysis.
And Steve will break down the Jets-Patriots game tonight on Jets Late.
See, they get so excited. My boys, I have 4 that I birthed. I grew myself and then I birthed myself. They get very excited, but I just listen. I don't need to speak on their stuff, and I just let them teach me what makes it so exciting. So, one second, Nooch. So this is the symbolic system I'm in, and this is where I am in holes and things I didn't realize were going on at the same time as I search for why is my health being so impacted and affected by humanity. I know if I do this as an upper gamma, that's the one that looks like a lowercase r, and then below would be maybe a lowercase gamma, which looks like an alphabet Y. I'm star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza, and it is October 24th, 2021. I'm in Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361, and it's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken.